Hey everybody, how are you? I hope you had an amazing Monday. Oh my goodness, we are on the countdown to lots of things, of course, Christmas and all that fun last minute stuff that moms and dads do. I hope we're in agreement. We're going to have an amazing, calm last few days of pleasant cacophony. That's the goal at my house. We're not ready completely, but we will be, because the important stuff is ready, of course, the people. That's what we want to focus on. So I hope you're having an amazing night. And this is Momma Monday and my Gen Hack for the 12 days of Gen Hacks. And I'm just going to combine them if that's cool with everybody. I think everybody will be cool with that. And it's December 17th, 2018. So we're on the countdown for the Gen Hacks. Those will end Saturday night. And thank you for all the feedback we've had on that. That has been really fun. And I don't know, I think Gen Hack could be a thing. Probably going to keep that up some way, somehow. I'm not sure exactly how that will all play out. But then we'll skip Momma Monday for Christmas Eve, and then we'll be ready to go on New Year's Eve, and I'll have a really special one that night too. So I am so excited because I actually grabbed my 19-year-old from her super busy, amazing entrepreneurial life to get her to come hop on with me. Similar to her brother, that was quite an act of Congress, and I'm so happy that she's here, and you're going to love getting to hear her story. So I hope you love it as much as I'm already thrilled and loving it that she's just here. So basically, we're going to do a little bit of a part two. When I had Nate here a few weeks ago, we talked about, okay, how do you do this entrepreneurial thing? And specifically, how do we do this when we're talking young adults and raising our young people up into the late teens and as they're starting adulthood? And what's their story? This is similar to the line we went along with Nate. So I'm going to, without further ado, just get Micah on here. She's our third child. She's 19, and I'm not going to tell her stuff because I want her to be able to tell it, but she's a bit of a mini me, and we're pretty similar in a lot of ways, and 98.5% of the time we jive. And have lots of fun. I feel that way with all of our older kids, but we have different things that we have in common. And so some of the things that she's getting to do, I'm really loving and enjoying, and it's just a fun season for her right now. So Micah, kind of spinning off of what we did with Nate, so maybe you can just give an idea of how you started out with your first entrepreneurial project that was part of our curriculum, basically, and you kind of did it in your own way, your own flavor. Can you tell the story of how that started and what you were actually doing and how it looked for you when you were around, I think you were around 14 or so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just like the start of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess like how you said is kind of like a requirement right when we got into high school. But for me, I think I wasn't, it took me a little bit to kind of find my niche or find something that would be my business, because Hannah, she started really young, and she started doing with the baking and everything like that. And then,
and you actually helped Hannah.
Yeah, I did help her
with the
and
catering.
that was the hard thing, is like I would just help and like pitch in here and there, but like I didn't really have my own thing. And so then I remember Dad, he sat me down and he was constantly talking about like, oh, what's your residual income? What's this? And all these business terms. And I would like it. I was just not a fan. And I always told him, I was like, I'm probably not going to start a business. He's like, well, no, yeah, you are. And so then I was just like, well, I like photography. And he's like, okay, yes, we can do that. And so then I got my first little small digital camera.
I totally remember that.
I think you and Dad got me that for Christmas.
What color was it?
Blue.
It was blue, yeah.
And it was like it was like nice for digital camera, but for like photography business,
Yeah, of course.
no way.
I mean,
But-
I don't even know. I'm so shocked at how old of a technology that is now.
Yeah, like an iPhone. It's
Yeah.
better quality.
Oh, totally.
But anyway, that was my first camera, and I was super interested. And then I was like, oh, I could probably do this for real. And so I kind of started from there. And then I knew just a little research that I was doing that I would have to get something that was obviously digital, or that was digital, but like a DSLR is what they call them.
Okay.
And
so you're already in stuff I don't know. I mean, I'm familiar,
basically
but I don't know.
a big camera. That's
right.
what it is.
The fancy stuff that
Fancy,
you see, you know.
Anyway, but this one still wasn't even that fancy.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've gotta get my hands on one of those. So then one thing that, and I don't know if you've mentioned this before, but obviously I didn't have, I think that my first camera was maybe $500 or $500, $600,
No,
somewhere
I
around
haven't
there.
talked about it. But
Anyway,
yeah.
but obviously I
You
didn't have
saved
like
your money.
$500 just laying around. And so that was the harder thing, is like I had to come up with that. And one thing that I think was so helpful is most 11, or I think, was I 14, 13? I think I was 13 when I
think you were
started.
13, yeah.
Anyway, like 13-year-olds do not have $500 laying around. But one thing is, like, you and Dad didn't just give me the money. We did calves, bottle calves, which I don't know if you've talked about this at all.
Not really. I'm glad you brought it up.
But
Actually.
it was a really good, and maybe for moms that are trying to find a way for your kids to make money.
Mm-hmm.
If you live on the farm, I mean, it's literally the perfect setup. But
It is. Yeah.
what we started was, we would start bottle calves, and we would do the work. Obviously, Mom and Dad would buy the calf, but we would do the work. We'd bottle feed it. We would just like help it. And most of the time, these were orphan calves that people from all around would, where our farm was.
It was a salvation project.
Yeah, it was. And some wouldn't make it, and some
Yeah.
would. And so it was
I know, that was so
really
sad.
emotional, but a really good character building project as well.
Yes, it was.
And
Yeah.
so anyway, we did that. And we all had calves, and then we were able, because we did the work, we would get the money off of it whenever we sold it, when it was big and everything.
That was a fun day.
Yeah. Anyway, and so that's what I did, is I saved up my calf money, and I bought my first camera, which I was like kind of cringing, because I was like, oh, this is all of my savings. But anyway, I spent it on my first DSLR, which was like a 3200, which anyone who knows anything about cameras, it's not a very good camera at all. And anyway, but I was and I was so happy. And just kind of having that drive, and having that, something you worked for, but now you have a tool that you can make even more money. Mm-hmm. And so I just instantly fell in love with that. And I think I was about 15. And then some dear friends of ours, maybe I'm kind of jumping ahead on like my first gig.
Yeah.
But some really good friends of ours were getting married. And I think this was my first gig was a wedding. Which
I'm trying to remember.
Bryce and Marianne.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And
I need to tag him on this.
Yeah. And that's, again, if any photographer friends out there, a wedding is not like the first gig you want to try on. But anyway, so they were super gracious, and I told them, I'm like, I don't know anything. They're like, no, like, we want you to do this. And so they were just betting on me.
They were so fun.
Yeah, okay. And then from there, I was like, I absolutely love this. And so just kind of having something that you work towards. And again, unlike Nate and Hannah, it took me a little bit. Like, it was just, there were a lot of tears, and I don't want to do this. I'm not an entrepreneur. All this stuff. Because I literally couldn't find anything. I'm like, this isn't something that I think I need to do. But just kind of keep pushing, and not in a bad pushing way, but like a loving pushing way of like, yeah, you can do this.
Maybe it's called nudging.
Yeah, that's a better word. But anyways, just like, it's not for anyone special to, it doesn't take anyone special to just start something like that. And
that's a really awesome point that I didn't think about.
Yeah, because I was voted least likely to do that, because I was not going to do that.
That's really funny you say that way. I never would have thought about it. We didn't even talk about this. Literally ahead of time, she just came from teaching a dance class. We did not talk about any of this, but I did not even think about how the nudge really did get you to that spot where you were willing to just see what that thing might be that you would love. And it's not something you can just go Google, what would be a good entrepreneurial project. I guess you could, just to get, ideas, but it did kind of come to the surface, like cream on the milk kind of thing. It did eventually, I guess you'd say, reveal itself to you. So
yeah, and I think that's another thing is just like parents like pay attention to the bend of like mom and dad always called it your bend, and like what you lean towards, what your child, what their dreams, ambitions, goals are, and try to kind of like scoot them towards that. Because as kids, we're just like, we don't care about we're not going to really push ourselves to do anything unless you're just naturally driven person.
Yeah.
Which a lot of my siblings are. Not really me. I wasn't at 14.
I think at that time maybe you weren't, but you have certainly become so.
Maybe a little bit now.
So that's kind of a good segue into what's happening right now. Her photography business has taken off to the point that she is actually going to have to trim it down. And after earning quite a bit and really getting to build a savings, she's added another side project, which has to do with another love she has as a hobby. So you can maybe hop off into that.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
like transition
into what you are teaching now, and then you could get into what you're doing for a lifelong, hopefully, career/goal, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So, kind of getting out of photography, or like how I made that transition, I recognized, like I'd say my junior year, maybe after we started looking at potential colleges and that kind of deal. I just thought, yes, photography is one of my passions, hobbies, but
and you made really good money.
Yes, it was very profitable, and I was able to upgrade my gear and that kind of thing, and save a lot for college and that kind of thing. But I really felt like God was leading me towards a different path, and so I'm not doing photography as much anymore. I still like kind of have it in my back pocket, and I still have clients that I've been taking their pictures for since I started, really, and I still do theirs. And we will
permanently ask you for photographs forever.
Yeah, and I still do it,
you have
as
permanent
far
clients
as
with us.
I have clients, and but I was kind of pulling back a little bit because you meet at the dance thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was your little side gig.
Yeah.
Hey, Kimberlyn, how are you? Good to see you.
But yeah, so out of high school, really like senior year, I wasn't doing any, like I wasn't working for anyone, or I didn't have any other job besides my photography business. That's how like sustainable it was. Like it kept me from like, building my savings account and that kind of thing. And so I didn't start another job or working for anyone. I did a couple things here and there as far as like cleaning people's houses, but not really to make money. It was more of just a relationship type deal. But I'm trying to think.
Well, you hopped off into that last 2 years of dancing.
Yeah. And that's one thing is I am a dancer, and I've been dancing since I was 5 in and out of studios. But we finally hit like a permanent studio when I was 17, which was a miracle because you don't really do that. Normally do that. You start at 5 and you just kind of stay with it. Yeah. And I didn't do that due to some of our moves that we had been involved in. And anyway, so we found a studio when I was 17.
And an amazing teacher.
And fell in love with the teacher. She's absolutely incredible.
Yes.
But anyway, so then I had an opportunity to start teaching. And that was always been a love of mine. I never thought that it would be possible. I thought after senior year of dancing, I would be done. But then I started teaching, and I fell in love with that as well. And so just kind of juggling those things, I knew that was a passion of mine, and then it also was another way to support me while I'm going to school and that kind of thing. So that was an avenue, but then also I had another spot where I'm really passionate about natural health. And so that's what I'm going to school for right now, is naturopathic medicine. And so that's another like area.
Fun
so it's
stuff.
just like all of these things. And for a really long time, I didn't understand why I had so many things that I was juggling. But I think if I sit down and organize them out,
Sarah
then,
put a lot of hearts on there for you.
but if I sit down and like organize them out, I can recognize that they're all passions of mine. And even though it doesn't seem like dancing, naturopathic medicine, and photography go together, it really does in kind of a weird way, because I love helping people. And I think that's the
Drive
correlation. Yeah, because it's like I love seeing people, one, with health is like living to their fullest potential, and then in photography, just seeing how like when they see a picture of themselves and they just feel so good about, you know, how they look, and they really just appreciate how the photos turned out and that kind of thing, and how it makes them feel. And then dancing, just kind of that one, teaching and helping girls, you know, feel really confident about, I'm teaching little girls, but feel really confident when, you know, a lot of times that's one thing that in today's society we struggle with, is a lot of girls don't feel confident about themselves and that kind of thing. So I think that's where they connected. For a long time I had no idea. I was like, God, why did you give me all these different things? They have nothing to do with it. They didn't have anything to do with each other, but anyway.
That's an excellent way to put it. Miss Sarah said, your amazing way to pursue your passions. Oh, that's super sweet. So yeah, Sarah, that's pretty neat that you said that, because I remember a time when Micah was possibly, I'd say in the 10, 11, 12 area, and that's before we moved back home where I'm from here in Western Oklahoma. But something about moving here, I don't know, it just kind of propelled our older three into that spot where they really could see, you know, what they loved. I guess the timing just correlated with them being able to see, oh, this is the thing for me. Because I remember little 10-year-old Micah saying, Mommy, I don't think I'm good at anything. And that's Hannah does this and Nate does this.
And that's what I'm saying is like, if
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, if you have a child that doesn't maybe seem as motivated as the rest of your children, or maybe doesn't think that they're good at anything, just kind of keep encouraging them, because I was that person. Like, I was probably the least motivated. I didn't think I was good at anything. I thought I was like jack of all trades and master of none. I literally called myself that, because I didn't think that I was, you know, great at anything. And so maybe that's just, you know, 13's kind of a hard stage, but just keep encouraging them and telling them that they're doing a good job, and they will find something, you know. They'll find one of their passions, or many, because that's what's happened to me, is like all these opportunities. And I didn't think that, you know, I would have the opportunities that I have now, and they just all plan out, you know, how they're supposed to. So. And I forgot to mention I'm working for PT as well, which is giving me a lot of experience as far as like the clinic side of things.
Yeah, so
for future clinic stuff.
A lot of clinician experience there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can say honestly that you do think about that time frame of, let's go all the way back, conception. And I'm going to say conception because the funny, cool thing about this girl when she was in the womb is that she had a really low heartbeat, okay? And we did a little experiment. Maybe I'll write about this or talk about this sometime, but for the most part, the majority of our children, our 13 children, if they had a high heartbeat, they were a girl. And if they had a low heartbeat, they were a boy, okay? Well, this girl right here is my only girl besides Rowan.
Did Rowan have
I think Rowan, yeah. Rowan is our little 2-year-old, and in a strange, weird way, she's my little very little close buddies with Micah. But hey, Allison. But Micah and Rowan, out of all 9 of the girls, are the only ones that had a low heartbeat. I was convinced that she was a boy. And the way well, we were going to name her or him Micah if she had been a him, but she kicked me like like a freight train in there. And I mean, I just was convinced that she was a boy. And so I'm saying, going from conception, you really, really start to feel certain things about how they act and what they love. And something fun to say,
I'm like reading the comments, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, read them. That'd be great. Something neat to notice too is birth order. She's the third child,
but in kind of like the baby of
and
that
the
bunch,
baby,
because like our family, it goes in bunches,
kind of in threes or fours.
In threes, and I'm the baby of my bunch,
right?
And you can totally tell because I'm just I just would ride on their coattails, and then I would have to find my own passion and stuff. So
what you might normally see in someone who's a baby of the birth order, she would have some of those characteristics, but yet she was a big sister too, and so you had to add that, and so anyway, I hope you feel really encouraged if you're a mom and dad right now, because those things that you pray for, and you just, any parent worth their salt is out there going, okay, God, help my child find their thing, help them know what to do, help them be driven towards what's best for them, what you have designed them for. And I think that's such a really phenomenal thing to watch that bloom and expand and grow. And I thought that, this is going to be a neat thing for other people to see and feel like they could gather up some kind of info for themselves, because it's kind of messy sometimes. It's not all pretty. It's not easy. And this girl has worked her tail off. She's such a hard worker. But when she started, as she said, she thought, I don't really want to do this.
Or anything.
I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I definitely don't want to own my own business. And now she's, kind of teetering between three of them, and now is finally settled on and working on being a naturopathic doctor. And so just to wrap us up, because we're just about close to time, I'm so happy you guys joined us tonight. This is such a fun thing to be able to communicate this way. We just love it. To wrap up, Micah, just kind of give us a bit of a synopsis of the ND and how that's going, and how you're paying your way through. You're basically owning, how you're making this happen. And she's just 19, so really good stuff. Yeah, almost. Well, kind of.
In the summer. I think I jumped ahead of myself. But.
So, Miss Sarah said, sign me up as a patient. Oh,
that's sweet.
Yeah, she can have
That'd be an honor.
Early sign up list.
Yeah.
So maybe give us an idea of kind of where that is now.
No, yeah. Okay, so I'm super excited. I have a tendency to kind of get ahead of myself a little bit with it, and Mom is constantly telling me, like, just take one day at a time. So I'm like, I could do this and this and this. But anyway, so like my original, or like the plan we have set out right now is that I will finish what they call an NHP, which is natural health professional first. And that's kind of just the basic. I'm almost finished with that, right?
Yes, I think that's maybe June or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm almost finished with that. And then I'll go into like my specialty, and that's naturopathic medicine. And my plan, hopefully, is to open up a clinic / wellness center type deal. And depending on how many certifications I get, I don't know. I really would like to certify in craniosacral therapy and some more like therapy side, or like just like that route a little bit, like take a pause on the naturopathy and then go for that for a little bit. It just depends on how long I want to be in school. But anyway, and so I have a couple classes here and there, but that's the main thing, is just to finish the naturopathic degree. I've been wanting to do that for so long, and so to finally actually be doing it right now is such a dream for me, even though it's like so stinking hard. But
Julie, she's being very modest about it, but it is stinking hard. But she's nailing it,
and that's the
so
thing
exciting.
Is like when you find your passion, it doesn't matter like if it is hard.
You just
because
do it.
I don't understand. I have friends who don't really know what they want to do yet, which is fine. It takes people a little bit longer sometimes, but they don't know what they want to do. Yeah, and I don't understand like how, they can even, honestly, they have it harder, because I don't know what I would be like if I wasn't driven towards this area because it's already hard, but knowing that it's going to be way better once you get over this bridge, and you're like, I can't wait.
Like you're not questioning what is that thing anymore.
Right.
But it definitely is different time frames.
Yeah, but just not knowing is so hard. So that's one thing about...
That's so true.
about like, you know, if it is hard or studying's hard or whatever, you know, it's worth it at the end. And so just knowing that you are doing what you love makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's cool. Very, very well said. So if you were going to tell somebody just to kind of connect everything, what naturopathy does for people, how does it work? What does it look like in comparison to allopathic medicine, for example?
So it more just works with just your natural, like how your body originally was designed, and not dogging on the medical side, because obviously we learn a lot of that, like we have to, you know, certifying that as well. But I just think that there's such a need for people just kind of taking a hold on their health, and you know, it's your body, you know your body, and I think that there's just so many things that people could do, you know, to kind of keep themselves above the wellness line. And so just that's kind of what I would be doing, is helping them. Again, if I certify in other things like therapy, I'd be able to do that as well. But mainly is what a naturopath does, is just kind of helps you support in your wellness and what your body's meant to do and designed by God to do. Without medication and that kind of thing. Because that's all it is. And I think a lot of people, they want to find an alternative, but it's just really, really hard and scary by yourself. So basically I'd be just helping them along the way, just to kind of find that middle ground of, you know, their fullest potential, where their health could be, just because that's my main thing, is just seeing someone healthy or seeing someone unhealthy just hurts my heart so bad, because it's like you have one body and one life, and like,
that's very well said.
You know, how are you going to spend it? And another thing is, and our school actually teaches this, and I think people don't take it seriously, is like when God says your body's a temple, like, that's not just talking about spiritually, like that's talking about, you know, health. And so I really take that seriously as well. But anyway, so that's basically, I don't know if I explained that all correctly.
I think that sounded great. It was very well said. And you have several different modalities that you use, that you learn to apply to fortifying your immune system. I know some of them obviously are diet protocols, nutrition.
Diet is just
nutrition is just
a huge
everything.
one.
It's just huge. Yeah.
And it fixed so many issues, but a lot, also along with diet, I'm kind of studying emotional side as well, which is like, we don't have time to talk about that.
That's a whole nother show.
But it's like, it's pretty legit. But I think I forgot to mention like the clinic side too. Hopefully the plan is to have other practitioners as well to work outside of the clinic, and that's kind of the plan. I forgot to mention that. But
and then you can just add
one-stop shop.
Right. So. Just wellness overall. And that way, when you're functioning in naturopathy, you can, as we said, you can focus really heavily on diet. Diet's probably the hugest area, wouldn't you say? As much or more so, or I don't know, the emotional side is probably as huge, dealing with how you process emotions, toxic and non-toxic, obviously, but then you have things that you can add, like what you said, craniosacral therapy, which is manipulation of the spine and the skull, manual therapy, which is what your doctor is that you work with in the clinic. There's so many different natural modalities. It would take a whole nother 2 or 3 shows to talk about that.
Yeah, it's so much. And we actually were learning, I'm on my finals right now, just like trying to finish that up. But I think it might have been last week, and we were talking all about detox. Like spent so much time learning about detox and just kind of what that entails. And it's pretty incredible. I mean, just knowing, like, I'm watching this stuff and I'm like, oh, I probably have that. Like, I need to do that, like, right now. But it's crazy. So
Yeah, and I think that that's also a fun thing to realize too, that when you're walking someone through a health journey like you will be, and like you're schooling yourself to be able to do, it doesn't mean that you don't experience a health crisis. It means that you get all of these different tools. We actually talked about that last night on Gen Hacks, about having tools in your tool belt. And
Sarah said, "Oh yes,
yeah,
all of them."
that you can use when things come your way. Thank you, Nate. That's cool to see. I like to say this emotionally and for lots of different things, but it's not that things aren't going to come our way. It's not that sicknesses and challenges and toxic stuff's not going to come our way. It's a matter of how we respond. And naturopathy is a beautiful way of showing how we can respond and keep our side, keep our approach towards the prevention side and the maintenance side versus the intervention side. And I think that probably explains naturopathy too. Just really having a modality going constantly that's all about maintenance and prevention. And so I'm loving looking and learning and listening to all the stuff that she's doing too. It's really, really thrilling. Oh no,
I'm not.
definitely not. You guys are both rocking it. I'm just a mom, guys. I'm #just a mom. Okay, I'm just thrilled.
I
get to.
thought that would come through.
Yeah,
through your mouth.
The mom would say that. I'm just thrilled that I get to say, hey, I get to be here on Momma Monday. I get to have somebody here that knows what they're talking about, and I get to share that with you and kind of act like I got a little tiny bit of street cred because of them. That's what I'm so thrilled about. I'm so grateful for. So
just kind of like wrapping that up, I guess, with the photography too.
Oh yeah.
Just saying, like, you can go from photography to naturopathic medicine, but basically just making sure that you just encourage those passions for your kids, because they might, be doing photography, or let's say they wanted to clean windows for a job or something.
Yeah,
then they might be, that might get them to the place.
Oh, totally.
Because even those things don't really correlate. They still, it's just like, it has...
We have a visitor real quick.
It created that drive, I think, of having to work for something, and then, I can do anything, so it doesn't have to go together. And like naturopathy right now, it's not really an entrepreneur, or like,
well, technically, yeah, you are an entrepreneur still.
I mean,
yeah,
but this, is it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because you're gonna be running your own clinic.
Yeah, okay.
You're just in a lot of places now where you have to interact with other people,
right,
but it is most definitely going to be your own small business. So each thing is a stepping stone that may create an open door. Yes,
that's very
definitely,
true. Even
definitely.
if it doesn't make sense at all at the time.
Yes, absolutely. And to sew all those things together, the Gen Hack for tonight is Character House. Okay.
Yes.
What Mike is describing and how she just went through her journey and how she started with photography, and actually she started out saying I didn't want to do anything, and how we kind of just gently nudged her and tried to keep looking for those things that were going to work for her the best.
It was a polite push. Like,
well, what's really funny,
you're going to do it.
Well, Nate said that we forced him, so that's cool.
Well, I wouldn't say you forced me.
Thank you.
I think you just forced him because he's a different personality than me. I just kindly, and
exactly.
the thing was with Dad is, like, I kind of have him wrapped around my finger.
Oh, the truth is out, Zoe.
Yeah.
Now she's said that on Momma Monday.
I kind of do, and so I think but he still was polite, like, you're still gonna do it, and I said, Dad, I'm not being an entrepreneur. He's like, yeah, you are. I'm like, no, not, but thanks. So anyway, I don't know, but I wouldn't call it forcing.
Well, in that time frame that you're learning all of these things, and you're finding your thing, and you're watching your child find their thing, the kids will probably put this on my epitaph too. I think I've said that more than once, but character house is everything. Because if you have a character house, no matter what it is, if you start them out and they're mowing lawns or they're washing windows or they're helping someone doing a house cleaning job, whatever it is, they're making cash, money, they're learning their work ethic, they're being on time, they're doing the hard stuff. PR skills. Oh, that's huge. I mean, I didn't even say that part, but communicating with adults, talking with them, making appointments, running their schedule. You should see, I should have had her bring her calendar. Her calendar is...
Oh, have you seen my calendar?
Yeah.
It's kind of a mess. But
I have a big calendar. She has a big calendar. We kind of correlate our calendars some with what we do. It's all tied in. So that Gen Hack, to wrap tonight up, is really, really do your very best, mom and dad, to say, hey, you can't do X, Y, Z till you get the character house in order. That is so critical. That's your foundation. That means, hey, that means obedience. That means respect. That means being grateful.
Because if you can't do that,
awesome attitude. You got to do that first.
Be able to do anything else, because there's always going to be people. Like, I didn't really talk about that, but with photography, there's always going to be people it's a little bit harder, to deal with, or maybe you didn't get their product out in time. That's happened to me before, and I have to take personal responsibility because. I said it was going to be out on that time.
Yeah, that's very well said.
But, there's always going to be people out there that aren't the nicest.
You guys have experienced that. You just kind of have
to, just kind of press through it and be able to have that character house. Start your 401k.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, they've Dave Ramsey'd this thing too, and
we're all Dave Ramsey fanatics.
I didn't say that, but the kiddos they've built this without debt. They have zero debt, and they have had those periods of frustration.
It's not
I
easy.
need this or that. I need this or that, and they'd have to pull back, and they'd have to wait. And then they'd save, and something would come through, and then you'd have a month where you had 5, 6, 7 photography appointments, and then you would.
Then you're tired.
Then
you're
tired.
But then you have money, but you're like, I don't want to edit any of these.
Yeah, she's just telling it to you plain. Mm-hmm. So, all those things fit. Push the character house and pray that their thing just comes up and you'll know what it is. And truthfully, looking back, this is our first 3 children. We're kind of in the process similar to what we've talked about with our next 3. And it's not easy, but it's worth it. And it happens. It really does happen. It's this trusting process. And I promise you all, there's nobody special. There's no parent, no mom nor dad, no young person that's special, that they're the only ones that get this. You can get this, mom and dad, you got this. Kids, if you're watching, you can get this. Say when you wake up in the morning, God, show me what I'm supposed to do. And it's going to be made known to you. You're going to know what to do. And all the steps, the stuff's going to lay out for you. And you're going to love it. Sometimes you're going to hate it. Yes, we have the envelopes. Yes. Thank you, Harrison.
He's just making my day.
Yeah, very,
we
very
need to see
cool.
him again.
Yeah, you got to come see us, Harrison.
Yeah, come see us.
So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this combo, okay? This is Momma Monday / 12 Days of Gen Hacks. I'm so happy that you hopped on with us tonight. And Micah, props, guys. I'm so excited that she did this. I
was really dragging.
She literally just came in from teaching her class. She literally just walked in at 9 o'clock tonight and privileged me to hop on. So thanks for being here, guys. This is one of the most fun things that I get to do. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to be Dunford wife and a Dunford mom and
Dunford kid.
Yeah, Mike is the Dunford kid. We're just really grateful and thankful for all that God's put our way, and know that He's doing the same with you all. And I will look forward to seeing you here tomorrow night. I'll have another 12 Days of Gen Hacks. We'll be on day 9 tomorrow, and look forward to meeting you here. Same time, same place, and can't wait. Love and hugs, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.